thanks for coming today. It's very important to do what we're doing. As an Aboriginal woman who was born in 1935, I can't take any years off that, and born under protection laws, these are the things that we've got to think about. Going and growing up with an Aboriginal family, my grandmother was traditional, and to get on a train, she had to go and go to the Aboriginal Protection Board in Bridge Street to get a ticket to get a letter to buy a ticket to get on a train. That was in 1940s, and I could never understand it. We could only go from La Perouse to Wreck Bay. She came here from the traditional lands here. She was a Gunnegarra, and they were brought through here in the 1800s. This is the area where my great-grandmother, they were massacred here. This is where they poisoned the water, the flour. And when the Aboriginal people and that came through, and there's a mass grave here somewhere, and they're going to find it one day. David Trainer always said it, and this is where it happened. But I was just saying to Sean, if we live as Aboriginal people, we can forgive, but we can't forget. And these are the things that to forget is unforgivable. Because remember, as Aboriginal people, we're not on the Australian Constitution, you know. I never came on a plane or a train. My people were here. They were the traditional owners of Australia, you know. And as I said, we work in our community. We teach language, and that, Annie and I, and we teach history and everything. Part of history is that the stolen generation, it wasn't a stolen generation, it was done by law. These laws was drawn up in Canberra, and they were pinned on the on the missions and where Aboriginal people lived. The only place who had them and had them pinned was the police. That's why you'll hear about it that Aboriginal people don't have a very close contact with the Gungis. That's Aboriginal police, right? And so they were pinned on there. The thing that was wrong was that most Aboriginal people couldn't read. They couldn't read what the laws were about. And so lots of our people were just jailed. The jails were full of people. Nowadays, they're full of women, Aboriginal women, because they're breaking the laws, you know? And this is another thing. So what we're doing today, what you're going to do today is something that it has to be done. I went in 1980 as one of the first Aboriginal health workers. They got the unit up in Sydney, and they got it up through the Department of Health, State Health and Federal, that Aboriginal people had to come in and work. There was 88 workers in the state, from Tweedheads to Albury, from here, and I would like you to check it out, how many positions came through, because we had the saying of getting these positions in, the Aboriginal positions, because this is where you when you go into a unit, you're there to look at the ideas of what is it going to suit Aboriginal people. That's how I think. Anna and I, we're two old Sheilas that's the only way I think. When they talk to me, I think, well, that help my Aboriginal community, my kids going to school. You know, our kids have got to be educated, and we've got to do it. But if we can't, the education department has to do it. On the news the other day, they talked about Aboriginal history going into the schools. And the chap said it will not affect Western history. They've got to know too that we're the first people, right? And the Constitution that has to be passed, don't forget, as Aboriginal people, we have to be included. We're not allowed to build on Crown land. Check it out. Don't believe everything Aunty Val says, because I might be conning you up. You can't build on Crown land. Aboriginal people have got land, but it has to go through the old community. Because you know why? Crown land still comes under the Queen in England. Check it out. Don't believe me, because I am a bit of a con merchant, right? I'm Aboriginal, proud of it, wouldn't have it any other way. When I get to heaven, and if I do, and the Lord says, I'm going to send you back, Val, as the Queen, I'll say, no. You can send me back as an Aboriginal woman, because I've got this living worked out, right? I married a white man, the most beautiful man that I ever met in my life, you know. Loved me for what I was, loved me for who I was, and he loved me for where I came from. And that's a beautiful thing in your life. Today you're doing a wonderful thing. And as Aboriginal elder and a traditional owner, I would like to welcome you all to my country, the land of the Gundungurra people. Thank you.